One of the most visible differences that I've seen on the sidelines here at the Gator Bowl between Florida State and Oklahoma State is the emotional level. Florida State is loose, cheering, clapping, and applauding each other. When even Thurman Thomas for Oklahoma State made that big run moments ago, this was a very, very quiet scene over here, and there's a very different level of emotional for both these teams. Back to you, Al.
That's an interesting comment because it almost figured to be the opposite coming into this game. We'll explain in a moment as Smith takes it out to the 16. A lot of people felt coming into the game Florida State would be flat because Jacksonville is only a 3-hour drive from Tallahassee, so it's not as if they're getting some kind of great and glamorous trip. And they were here a couple of years ago, and some of the Florida State fellas kind of indicated early on, well, you know, the Gator Bowl, it's all right, but it'd be nice to go someplace else. Whereas Oklahoma State, very proud, very happy to be back as, in a way, the defending Gator Bowl champions and going to a bowl for the 3rd straight year. On 2nd down and 5, it's complete to Pat Carter, the tight end, and he lurches forward for a first down to the 26-yard line.
That's catch number 2 for number 85, Pat Carter. And I mentioned earlier I liked him. I got to meet him earlier this year when I covered the Seminoles against Miami. He has huge hands. 6'4", 250 pounds, pretty good speed, huge hands, sure hands. And he's getting to be more and more of a big play tight end.
1st and 10, Florida State from the 26. Fake to Smith, and then Ferguson going deep, looking for White, and incomplete. White tried to get an interference call out of it as he bumped into Denise Williams, but the officials didn't bite. Bobby Bowden pacing the sidelines. In his 10th season as the head coach at Florida State.
Gives the plays to one of his assistants, and they are flashed in to the quarterback, Chip Carter. Chip Ferguson. There's a Freudian slip.
Get into the deeper meaning of that a little bit later. 2nd down and 10 at the 26-yard line. Smith picks his way out to the 28-yard line. Gain of 2. 3rd down and 8 with under 9 minutes to play in the first half. Florida State on top 3-0. The Seminoles coming in favored by about a touchdown. The winner of this game will end its season with a mark of 9-3 and secure a spot in the top 20. The loser will be 8-4 and probably drop out of the top 20. 3rd and 8. Ferguson, high pass and dropped by Cletus Jones. Again, he's the fellow to whom we referred earlier. Has caught very few passes this season and normally don't throw his way, and unable to handle the pass, which was slightly high. So 4th down and 7 now with Florida State on top 3-0, and the Seminoles to kick. Funny game. It's low scoring, wide open, but really has not been defined. Can't figure out the character of the game.
I'll tell you one of the problems. Both teams ineffective on 3rd down conversions. Oklahoma State only 2 of 7 in that department, and the Seminoles also having trouble keeping their drives going.
Berry's kick is fair, caught at the 30-yard line by Bobby Riley.
The Noles are 1 of 5 in that department.
And back comes the Cowboy offense. Play first half in Jacksonville at the Gator Bowl, where Florida State leads Oklahoma State 3-0. OSU with the ball, 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Ronnie Williams, who's had an erratic first half as the quarterback. Timmons the fullback. Thomas the tailback. Fake to Thomas. Everybody goes into the pattern. And Williams goes deep for Riley, who's out in front. But the pass is underthrown and dropped by Deion Sanders, who would have had an interception. Riley had him beat, but Williams didn't have the arm.
Williams is mad at himself because Riley was out there. Look at this. He's a step and a half ahead of Sanders. and the ball is underthrown by about 5 yards. If he were able to put this ball high and outside, put a little more muscle into it, he would have had a touchdown. It was a well-executed play. Riley ran his pattern perfectly, but the ball just didn't have enough stuff on it.
Williams 5 out of 14 for 60 yards. On second down, that doesn't fool anybody. Thomas is racked up, and do you think Gerald Nichols is a little excited about it? Number 79, a junior, recruited out of St. Louis, Missouri. 6'2", 265-pounder.
Thurman Thomas in isolation here just never gets started because Nichols, number 79, who you just talked about, is in the backfield and shuts him down.
Third down, 14 from the 26-yard line. The crowd amusing itself with the wave as Williams calls the signals and drops back under pressure, throws against the grain and incomplete. Taking on the dimensions of a street game right now. A lot of long passes, a lot of incompletions.
Both offenses lack consistency and continuity at this stage of the game, and I talked about the absence of big plays on third down. Third down conversions have been unsuccessful for both teams. There have been some big plays. There has been some wide open football, but a lot of drive killers.
Deion Sanders back to return the kick. Rich Thompson will accept the snap at the 12-yard line. And it's a wobbly and a short kick that goes out of bounds at the 46-yard line. So near midfield, the Seminoles take over with 7:06 to go in the period. 28-yard punt. 7:06 to play in the first half. Pat Jones in his second season at Oklahoma State, watching his team trailing 3-0. Jones, an assistant coach under Jimmy Johnson, got the job when Johnson left to go to Miami 2 years ago, and was rumored to be the head coach at Pittsburgh after Coach Fazio was fired earlier this winter. Back to...
Well, he worked at Pittsburgh under Jackie Sherrill. In fact, he mentioned Jackie Sherrill as someone who influenced his philosophy, along, of course, with Frank Broyles and Jimmy Johnson.
Flag has been thrown. Leonard Jackson involved in the play, number 84, and a personal foul is the indication against Leonard Jackson of Oklahoma State, but also offsetting is a personal foul call against the Seminoles. Pablo Lopez also involved in the altercation. So the ball at the 49-yard line. The play stands. It was a gain of a couple. It's second down and 8. Ferguson, the freshman quarterback, this time with split backs. And it's incomplete. So it's third down. Ricky Shaw put the pressure on and made contact as Ferguson released. So Ferguson, true freshman, 18 years old, 9 out of 19. Again, if you missed it earlier, talking about the fact that McManus was their starting quarterback this season. Then they went with Kirk Coker. Eric Thomas was their starter last year, but he's been bothered by the after effects of shoulder surgery. And so Ferguson, who is number 4 on the depth chart, throws his 20th pass of the game, and that one is incomplete. And White looked like he was more of a defender than the intended receiver on the play, trying to break up the interception, as it were.
So on third down conversions now, the Seminoles 1 of 6 as Mike Hudson, number 10, breaks up that play intended for Randy White. And Ferguson a little cold now. Hot earlier, but now 9 of 20 in the passing department for 139 yards.
Berry to kick. Riley calls for a fair catch, but lets it go. And it bounces into the end zone. From the 20, the Cowboys will take over. 6:25 to go in the half.
Appeal to her.
Sullivan to Beasley. Sullivan to Beasley. What a combination that was for 3 years. 69, 70, and 71. I got to cover those guys, and how exciting they were.
Oklahoma State starting from the 20-yard line on first down. Starts this drive on the ground. It's Thomas taking it out to the 24-yard line. If I'm Pat Jones at this point, Lee, I got to think about giving the ball to Thomas more. Williams has been so erratic through the air to this point.
I think, again, it's something we talked about earlier is the lack of consistency and continuity on the offenses. It has made this game seem a little dull at this point. Oklahoma State has converted only 2 of 8 third down conversions. Florida State only 1 of 6. So because of that, you just have these drives that never seem to get going.
Exactly. Penalty flag goes down at the 24-yard line. And an offside call against Oklahoma State to the chagrin of Jones. You're right, a game that features all of these long passes you would think would be exciting, but it's reached the point where it has no character at all.
With a dead ball on the offense, second down.
5-yard penalty back to the 19, and it's second down 11. 5:49 to play in the half. Each team penalized now 3 times. And from the 19, it's second and 11 with Williams, the quarterback. Thomas, not much room for him, and back to the original line of scrimmage. Third down and 10 is Darrell Gray, a senior from Lake Wales, Florida, makes the stop, and it will be third down and 10.
Cowboys, of course, have had some good runners before. Terry Miller, Ernest Anderson. I would say probably of those two that Thurman Thomas compares more to Ernest Anderson. He's more that type of runner. Slashing type runner. Good cutback runner. A guy who can be a breakaway threat and also double as a trouble runner. They will give him the ball in short yardage situations.
On third down and 10, quarterback draw, and Williams is stopped at the 25-yard line. Florida State defense does it again. McGowan, 38, leads the charge, the team's leading tackler.
So again, the Cowboys come up short in a third down situation. Ronnie Williams on the quarterback draw play starts to go to the outside. If he had cut back here a little bit sooner, he had some daylight to his left. Paul McGowan, number 38, the man who makes the tackle. So now the Cowboys are 2 of 9 third down conversions.
And Rich Thompson to punt again. Fields the low snap, gets the kick away, a high kick. Backing up, taking into the 29 is Deion Sanders. The blocking does not form, so he slips to the outside, gets out past the 40. He's into Oklahoma State territory and run down near the 40-yard line. Deion Sanders gives the crowd a charge as Harry Roberts stops him.
Sometimes this is exactly what it takes to get a team out of the doldrums when they're not moving the football, is a big play by someone on the special units.
There's also a flag down, though, to negate it.
Well, in that case, it's not going to mean much, but it's a good individual effort here by number 2, Deion Sanders.
And it was in that area that the marker was thrown, which would indicate a clip. And we'll get the call in a moment as they march it off. It would have been a 24-yard return. And instead, they march it off from the spot of the infraction, the 39, back to the 24.
We have a receiving team. First down.
See if we can catch it on the replay here.
From the end zone, you might be able to see the clip. Clip on Mark Moore, number 15. It's going to negate the return.
From the 24-yard line, Smith churns his way out for a gain of 3 or maybe 4. Under 4 minutes now to go in the half. Florida State on top by a score of 3-0. Seminoles came out firing, throwing passes on their first 3 plays of the night. The third intercepted by Oklahoma State. Each team has been able to mount a couple of long drives, but nobody's gotten into the end zone. 2nd and 6. Ferguson, the freshman, somehow escapes the sack and gets out to the 36-yard line. A little bit of a Houdini act right there.
I'm telling you, it looks like Leslie O'Neal practically takes Ferguson's head off here. Now watch this. O'Neal comes in high and hard. Ferguson ducks just in the nick of time, scrambles by 2 other would-be tacklers, and turns it into a pretty good gainer. Good individual effort by Ferguson. But I'll tell you, that's frightening to watch.
The loudest non-hit of the season. At the 35, a first down for Florida State. 3 minutes to go in the half. Ferguson sending 2 wide receivers to the right. Runs the play the other way on the ground with Smith taking it out to the 45-yard line and very close to a first down.
Tony Smith got the start tonight simply because he was a senior. Bobby Bowden wanted more experience in his starting lineup.
Smith just shy of the first down. Not only Smith getting the start tonight, but Floyd has only been in for 1 carry. And their other heralded running back, Keith Ross, has not carried the ball at all. So they've been going with that man. But really, they've been going with a passing game more than anything. 2nd down and a couple of inches from the 44-yard line. And with this free down, Ferguson will try to cash in through the air and does. Number 82, Randy White, makes the catch at the 40-yard line. Randy White, the man who had not caught a pass this season, in fact, in his 2 years on the Florida State varsity, and he's caught 4 tonight for 87 yards.
And this one is a sideline pass. He works his way down into the secondary, curls to the outside, makes the catch, and then steps out of bounds to conserve time because we're down to 2:41 remaining here in the second quarter.
1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Ferguson going for the end zone, looking for Gator. Some bumping, some shoving, and he makes the catch off the deflection for the touchdown. Denise Williams with the coverage, but as the ball pops up in the air, it's Gator who comes down with a 39-yard touchdown reception.
Watch the concentration at the end of the play here by Gaynor as Denise Williams appears to have the ball momentarily. It pops out of his hands, and right there is Gaynor to pick it away for the touchdown, and the first touchdown of the night.
And now Schmidt, who's been perfect for the past 2 seasons, boots it through with 2:31 remaining in the half. It's 10-0. Seminoles now a visit to both campuses. Herb Gator, one of those getting a lot of time tonight because of the Florida State receiving situation, having scored the touchdown as Riley runs the kick back to the 22-yard line. So with Hassan Jones ineligible, with Holloman injured, their top 2 receivers, it's Gator, who all season long caught 5 passes, making the catch here for the touchdown.
He's running a straight fly pattern here, and he looks back, and watch, because it appears momentarily that Williams has an interception, but the ball bounces off his chest, and with alertness there, Herb Gaynor, number 3, plucks the ball away and falls backward into the end zone for a touchdown.
Now the Cowboys from the 21-yard line on 1st and 10. Ronnie Williams throws a bullet to Riley, and that's a first down, a 13-yard pickup. He goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line. 2:21 to go in the half, and Oklahoma State with all 3 timeouts remaining.
That looks more like the quick passing game that characterized the Cowboys in 1984 when Rusty Hilger was the quarterback.
First and 10 from the 34. Again, Weimer, and he is out of bounds as he makes the catch near the 40-yard line. Gain of close to 6. It'll be second down and 4, and that eats up only 5 seconds. 2:16 to go in the half. Pat Jones hopeful of his team getting something started offensively here in the latter stages of the first half. They're already down by 10. Williams slips, gets the pass away, but it's incomplete.
Well, he threw it because he knew he would take a loss if he didn't. He knew he was on his way down, so why not throw an incomplete pass? Get it back to the line of scrimmage. Good quick thinking by Williams there.
Jamie Dukes, is that kind of a night? Man is working up a lather on a chilly night in Jacksonville with the temperatures down in the 40s. Over the middle, and that's complete to the tight end J.R. Dillard for a short gain to the 40-yard line.
First reception of the night for the tight end J.R. Dillard, who replaced Barry Hanna, who ended up being the hero of last year's Gator Bowl game.
So they're shy of the first by 5, and on fourth down the punting unit comes in. And Florida State takes a timeout to preserve some time on the clock, knowing they're going to get the ball back and knowing that Oklahoma State would probably let the 25-second clock run down as far as they could. Florida State alertly takes the timeout, the first of 3. So they have 2 remaining, and they'll have 1:26 with which to work. We can tell you that a week from Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the Harlem Globetrotters, live from Kansas City, Missouri. And this year's team, as I think most of you know, includes the first woman Globetrotter, Olympic gold medalist Lynette Woodard. And it will be the first time the Globetrotters have performed live. We've had them for years on Wide World, but this time you'll see it at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, 4:30 on the West Coast on Saturday, the 11th. Coming up at halftime here, we'll take a look at the college football season in review. We'll have a look at the Gator Bowl halftime show as well, featuring Mickey Gilley, and the first half highlights. Deion Sanders is back to receive. He stands at the 15-yard line. And Rich Thompson has been a busy man in the first half to punt. Low snap, but he comes up with it. Thompson gets it away, and a fair catch is called for and made at the 17-yard line by Sanders. The Seminoles with Ferguson getting last moment instructions from Bobby Bowden after that 42-yard kick. Start this drive at the 17 with 1:17 remaining on the clock and 2 timeouts. 10-0 Florida State.
Well, it was Bobby Bowden's game plan to throw the football, so why not continue? Why not get 17 points on the board? Or 13.
And he's got a great field goal kicker, too. All I have to do is get within Schmidt's range, and his range extends out to about 50 yards. His longest this season is 51. But they pitch it to Smith on play number 1, and Smith has some room to the 30, 35, dropped at the 36-yard line. But a pretty good evening for the senior, who was a little slow now in getting up. He was the team's leading ground gainer this year.
Here's Tony Smith in isolation on the power pitch play, sometimes called student body right, as he goes around the right side here. Slips by the secondary of Oklahoma State, breaks one tackle, slips away from another. Looked like he was hurt momentarily, but now he's okay.
81 yards and 9 carries for him, averaging 9 per rush. And the pass is complete on the near side. Pat Carter was all alone, and he's run out of bounds in Cowboy territory at the 43-yard line. And things right now are getting a little critical for the Cowboys because the way their offense has been stuttering and sputtering, they can ill afford to be down by 17 points or even 13, frankly, at halftime.
They have yet to launch an effective drive. Carter now 3 receptions for 41 yards, equaling his best effort of the season.
First down from the 43. Ferguson back to throw, going deep over the middle and incomplete. Randy White covered on the play. It'll be second down and 10. 43 seconds remaining in the first half. And it's been a long half. This baby started at about 8:08.
Well, he's already thrown 24 times, completing 12 for 215 yards and 1 touchdown with that 1 interception. So his numbers are very impressive. Hard to believe he's just 18 years old, only 6 months out of high school, and he's playing big-time college football.
It's been about an hour and a half first half. It is second down and 10 from the 43-yard line. Smith to the 32 as he moves up near the 100 mark. And is slow in getting up.
I think he needs a breather.
37 seconds remaining now. He looked like he was a little slow in getting up on the previous play, and then they give it to him again. Watch it again.
It's pretty hard. Hit pretty hard on the left side. It might be the left knee. He might just be out of air. He might just need a little breather.
Came off holding and then shaking his wrist. But he comes out with the ball at the 32-yard line after a first down. And it's first and 10 for Florida State. So they are already within range of the field goal kicker, Schmidt.
Meanwhile, his numbers are impressive. 10 carries for 90 yards.
And Bowden gets a word in with...
You're right. It is the
Ferguson.
left wrist. They're putting ice on it now.
Meanwhile, Bowden with Ferguson, and we'll get a word from Al Troutwig.
Al, I'm standing about 3 feet away from the injured forearm, and you could really see the Smith wrist swell up right before my very eyes. I'd say it raised up about half an inch as I was looking at it. He's on his way to the locker room right now. Back to you.
Tough break for him, in as much as he gets the start tonight, which people didn't expect. And he's turned in a good performance. First and 10 with Ferguson. Back to throw. Throws it over the middle, and it's knocked down. Second down and 10. With 32 seconds now remaining to the half. Victor Floyd has replaced Smith, who gets an early start back to the Seminole locker room. Still has time. The right wrist is all right for a high five, but the left has an ice pack on it. Second and 10. Ferguson nearly had that one picked off. Some mistiming there. Hudson, the intended receiver, and White was not looking back until the last moment. Some miscommunication, and they're fortunate that one wasn't picked off.
Randy White, the intended receiver, and Mike Hudson, number 10, nearly picks the ball off from his strong safety position.
So now third down and 10 with the ball just inside the 32-yard line. Florida State leading 10-0. Draw, and it's Floyd, the redshirt freshman, who is shy of the first down as he gets to the 23-yard line. The clock is still running with 12 seconds, 11. They have a timeout left if they elect to use it, and they only do to set up the field goal. Had they elected to use the timeout A few seconds earlier, they would have had at least one more play to attempt to get into the end zone, but instead they allowed enough seconds to elapse and figured that they'll settle for what figures to be a pretty automatic 3 for Derek Schmidt, the sophomore from Sarasota, Florida, who has kicked one earlier this evening. Perfect in the extra point department, 18 of 25 in field goal attempts this season, and as long as 51. So this one to be spotted at the 30-yard line. Kirk Coker will do the holding at the far hash mark. Then Schmidt will try to make it 13-0 at the half. Good. Just inside the left upright. 39-yard field goal for Schmidt. And 2 seconds still remain in the first half. So Schmidt still has to kick off with a score 13-0.
Reaction from Schmidt and his holder. Holder initially. Delayed reaction by Schmidt. He's kind of casual about it. Oh well, business as usual. Meanwhile, Ferguson has amassed some impressive numbers in the first half. 12 of 26 for 215 yards. 1 touchdown.
Seminoles leading 13-0. So Schmidt to kick off. What he'd like to do here is put it into the hands of a lineman. The last thing you want to do with 2 seconds remaining in the half is give somebody a chance to run it back on you.
There'll be a 5 lateral play.
Go right into Joe Kapp's playbook for that baby, huh? Bouncer right down the middle, fielded at the 9-yard line by Riley. He works his way to the outside, but they run him out of bounds as the clock runs out in this very long first half. In a game that started at 8:08 Eastern time, we reach the half at 9:45 p.m. Good morning, America. The halftime score is 13-0. Florida State. And let's get a word with Al Troutman.
All right, Al, with me, of course, Bobby Bowden. Coach, you really decided to show us what kind of an arm your quarterback has. 215 yards in the first half.
Well, that's good. I really, he's a freshman, and I really wanted to see what he had. So we're going to come out and fire the football no matter what and see what he can do.
Yet in many cases, the finality of the drives that you had up and down the field wasn't there. Are you satisfied with the 13-0 score?
No, but the penalties, we look like a team that's been off for about a month. We're getting penalty, and stopping ourselves a lot. I think if we can stop the penalty business, I believe we could do all right.
You were scared with the youth of this team. That's what you said to me yesterday, and I haven't seen very many freshman mistakes out there.
Well, that's the key to it. It would really help us next year if these kids could get a win tonight. Got a tough 30 minutes to go, but it would really help us, and I'm really proud of the way they're playing so far.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Bobby Bowden of Florida State. It is 13-0, halftime at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, and we'll be back with halftime activities after this word from your local stations.
Sports Exclusive is being brought to you by...
Halftime score, Florida State 13 and Oklahoma State nothing. As the Cowboys have been unable to get on track, and the Seminoles got into the end zone on a pass to Gator, a deflected pass, and 2 field goals from Schmidt. There are the numbers for Chip Ferguson, who has thrown for 215 yards. And a look now at the touchdown pass, the only touchdown in the first half.
Well, it's a battle between Gaynor and Williams. Chip Ferguson looks to his left first, then throws back to his right. Now, sometimes quarterbacks get lucky. This ball was not that well thrown. In fact, it looked momentarily that Williams would intercept it. Instead, it popped back into the arms of Gaynor, who falls backward into the end zone for the touchdown. In isolation, you can see that all Herb Gaynor, the split end, is doing is running a straight streak or fly pattern along the right sideline. It amounts to a foot race between he and the cornerback, Williams. And right now it looks like the coverage is perfect and that there will be an interception. Instead, the ball bounces off the chest of Williams into the hands of Gaynor for the only touchdown of the first half. Within stories, and to me, the story of this first half was the fact that neither team could convert really on third down conversions. I made a note of it earlier. Oklahoma State only 2 of 10 in the third down conversion department, and Florida State 1 of 6 in that department. As a result of that, you just didn't seem to have anything going anyplace. There are a few big plays, some good plays, but not the kind of first half that you would expect of these two teams. And I think that's the thing that Pat Jones wants in the second half, is that he wants some continuity in his offensive unit, and I think that he's going to have to get the ball to Thurman Thomas more often.
I echo those sentiments. It's 13-0. That's our halftime score. The fireworks taking place at halftime of the Gator Bowl, and we'll be back after this from your local stations.
Last year in the Gator Bowl, the Oklahoma State Cowboys pulled off some last-minute heroics to win the game. Pat Jones, the coach, is with me, and you may need some more of that second-half magic, Coach. What happened aside from Ronnie Williams and Thurman Thomas not being as effective as you may have hoped?
Al, we never did have any good field position. We had an 11-play drive and an 8-play drive. We had to go too far. We gave up the pass that got batted around the end zone, obviously, for a touchdown. But, you know, we were ahead in this ball game last year 13-0, and it's just reversed this year. We came out and got behind last year, so we got to just switch the tables.
Coach, I stood on both sidelines for quite a long time in that first half. I noticed that your team's a lot quieter, less emotional than Florida State. Do you feel that way?
Well, yeah, it'd be easier for us to be emotional if we were ahead 13-0 than we were behind 13-0. But, you know, this is by and large a pretty business-like group. Now, I think we played hard. I don't think like average part of it. We just can't make anything happen.
Are you a good second-half team?
We'll find out. If we're not, we're going to get blown away.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Back to you, Al.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. 13-0 Florida State as we start the third period, and pretty much what Pat Jones was talking about, Lee Groscup, as you look at that field position beginning each drive.
Kind of points out what we're talking about, both the absence of good field position and also the absence of third down conversion. So as a result of that, they just have lacked continuity and consistency in their offensive schemes, offensive drives. And Chip Ferguson has been erratic at times, but overall his numbers are pretty impressive for a freshman, and he has amassed more than 200 yards here in the first half.
And his team has the lead. His team will also kick off. Derek Schmidt to kick it as we start the second half at the Gator Bowl. At the goal line, it's Bobby Riley, number 1, back of a wedge, and a 21-yard run back. So out to the 21-yard line come the Cowboys to take on this defense. Isaac Williams, Todd Stroud, the nose guard from St. Petersburg, and Gerald Nichols, who had a big sack in the first half. The linebackers are Darrell Gray, Garth Jacks, number 84, Fred Jones, and the team's leading tackler, Paul McGowan, who had a good first 30 minutes. 1st and 10. Oklahoma State from the 21-yard line. Ronnie Williams, and right now they come out of their basic I with a single setback, and that is Thomas, who takes the ball out to the 24-yard line. So no blocking back in that alignment. The cornerback for Florida State, Martin Mayo, and on the other side is Deion Sanders. And the strong safety is the freshman Stanley Shiver, with the sophomore at free safety Greg Newell. Offensively, Williams, Thomas the tailback. Now Timmons had been playing fullback, the blocking back, but he's out as they change the offensive alignment and go with the single setback in Thomas. They send Ken Brown in motion and pitch it to Thomas, and Thomas wrestles his way out to the 29-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 2. So they come out with 2 tight ends and an ace back.
Single setback or ace back, double tight end. That is obviously a running formation for the most part, and just as we predicted at halftime, they're going to try to get the ball more to Thurman Thomas. Halftime stats, you see again the passing advantage going to Florida State, 215 to 86, and that's probably the one that sticks out the most. Also total yards 314 to 143.
3rd down and 2. Now back to the basic formation with the blocking back. Timmons leading the way for Thomas. And so Thomas carries on the first 3 plays and takes it out to the 33-yard line. Timmons with the block leading the way. Thomas has now carried the ball 16 times for 66 yards. First down from the 33-yard line.
From that formation, you figure he's going to get the ball on the blast play, the pitch or sweep, and also on counters and draws.
Timmons and Thomas lining up back of Williams. They fake to Thomas, send him out into the pattern, and throw out to Hartley Dykes, who takes it at the 50-yard line. Dykes makes his 3rd catch of the game, the 6'4" freshman.
Hartley Dykes, who has returned after a stress fracture, has 4.6 speed. And he runs a deep curl-in route here. That's his 4th reception on the night, totaling 60 yards. That one netted 17 yards.
At the 50, 1st and 10. Back-to-back first downs to begin the second half for the Cowboys. Williams to Thomas on the screen, cuts to the outside, and he really did that himself. Not much blocking out in front of him, but enough so that he was able to change direction and take the ball inside the 40 to the 39, and a 3rd first down in the second half for OSU.
I think the game plan for the second half is pretty much what we thought it would be, and that's get the ball to this man, number 34, Thurman Thomas, as many different ways as possible. This time a little slip screen or quick screen out to the right flat, and he picks his way behind his wall of blockers.
They get it to him again, but it's smelled out by the Florida State defense. Number 79, Gerald Nichols, in amongst those making the tackle back at the 43-yard line. Loss of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 14.
The plays are brought in via the wide receivers for Oklahoma State. Florida State flashes their plays in, but the wide receivers are messengers for the Cowboys.
Riley is split to the left. Weimer is split to the right. On 2nd down and 14 from the 43. Straight drop by Williams and protection. Looking for Riley, and Riley with a flag going down makes the catch at the 20-yard line, and a marker is thrown at that spot. Deion Sanders was draped all over him.
I think Sanders is going to get called again, and we've talked about how he is the best athlete in the secondary. At times he tends to be overly aggressive.
Pat Jones being reminded that he has to be behind the sideline, or where the boundary would be, as the interference call is made, and we'll take another look at it.
From this low angle, look first at Ronnie Williams as he sets up in the pocket, steps forward. Good delivery there. He's looking to his wide receiver on a post pattern. Deion Sanders, number 2, clearly has premature contact here.
There was never a call, I assume, for the moment that he made the catch, but he doesn't, as you can obviously see. The ball bouncing, and then he is able to gain possession of it, and that makes a difference in the sense that the interference is marched off from the line of scrimmage, as opposed to what would have happened had he made the catch. They could have declined the penalty, taken at the spot. Instead, the ball comes to the 28-yard line, and it's 1st down and 10 for Oklahoma State. 11:47 to play in the 3rd period. Florida State leading 13-0. Williams finds Dykes to the 21. Hartley Dykes gains 7, and it's 2nd down and 3. And Oklahoma State looks very crisp on its first second half drive.
They thought he would make a difference in their passing schemes. Hartley Dykes, number 11, a really highly recruited freshman out of the state of Texas. We mentioned he was injured earlier. Good size, good speed, and good hands. 5 receptions now for 67 yards.
Thurman Thomas to the 18-yard line, moving over the right side, and that's close to a 1st down.
Yeah, this is far and away their most impressive drive, and it has had the continuity that was lacking in the first half. It looks more like the way Rusty Hilger ran the team in last year's Gator Bowl game, mixing in Thurman Thomas with the high percentage passes.
They'll measure for the first. The Cowboys at the 18-yard line. It will either be 3rd and inches or a first down. And it is the latter. Cowboys are trying to get off the schneid. Not only have they been shut out tonight and were blanked on the ice rink that was their home field in Stillwater on November 30th against Oklahoma on a miserable night, but they did not score in the 4th quarter of their loss to Iowa State the week prior to that. And thus they've gone more than 7 periods without a point. 5th first down on this drive. 1st and 10.
The wind chill factor was -28 for that game.
Brutal conditions, and the Sooners won it 13-0. Williams gives it to Thomas, picking and threading, and gets 2 to the 16-yard line.
That last first down, by the way, was the 5th first down on this drive. So that's a complete turnaround from the first half. This is just what they need to put them back in the football game. Of course, if they can culminate with a touchdown.
And they've had the ball for nearly 5 minutes. 10:15 to play in the 3rd period. Florida State leading 13-0. It is 2nd down and 8. Thomas is the sole back. Weimer is split to the right. And with Riley split to the left, on a roll to the left, looking toward the tight end, J.R. Dillard, and incomplete as that one hit Dillard in the hands and he couldn't hold it on. 3rd down.
Dillard should have caught the ball, but Williams should have taken a little something off the pass. At times he has such a strong arm that he throws the ball too hard. In that case, he had Dillard wide open. He could have just changed the pace a little.
Kind of thing that can kill you too. You're moving along, Thomas is running well, the passes are there, and then all of a sudden somebody drops one in his hands, and it's 3rd down and 8 instead of a first down. And they've had trouble converting on 3rd downs tonight, with the exception of this drive. Williams lofting it for Dykes at 6'4". He goes up and does not make the catch. He did not maintain possession in the end zone. Martin Mayu right there with him. On a little alley-oop at 6'4", figuring he had the advantage, and he nearly came down with it, but no, and it's 4th down and the field goal unit comes in. Mayu is 5'8".
6'4" against 5'8" is a nice mismatch for the offensive unit, and it appears here that Dykes has it for the touchdown. I didn't see him drop it.
From the 23-yard line, a 33-yard attempt by Joey O'Donnell is good. And so Oklahoma State gets on the board.
From this low angle, we can see a little better if Dykes indeed has possession of the football. No, it's a good call. Right there is where he lost possession.
9:46 to play, 3rd period, 13-3, Florida State. One above row 20 saw it. North Carolina beat Arkansas 31-27. Kelvin Bryant and Ethan Horton had big nights for the Tar Heels, but it will be forever remembered as the Fog Bowl.
Derek Holloway, of course, had a good game for the losers in that one, but I'll never forget sitting at home and listening to you and Ara Parsegian trying to describe that game. It must have been something.
The only thing in town that was open that night was the airport. It was amazing. The fog rolled in, never lifted. Once it rolled in, I guess between the 1st and 2nd quarter. And it was an amazing night to sit here and just hear the crowd responding to what I had no idea. Turned out to be a great game, though. The kickoff taken at the 6-yard line by Keith Ross. And the freshman gets upended, loses the football at the 27, but he was down. He was down. No fumble. Emphatically pointed out by the official.
might be debatable. Let's watch. I think the Zebras are right.
The contention was that the contact with the ground jarred the ball loose. As Ferguson drops back, sets up the screen, and it's a good screen with Smith out past the 30 to 35. And Smith lost control momentarily, but regains it as he takes it out to the 38-yard line. And that's a first down, and Smith is shaken up again. Defensively, Warren Thompson, Leonard Jackson, number 84, the defensive tackle. John Washington is outstanding, but Leslie O'Neal gets most of the publicity, so you don't hear that much about Washington. Harry Roberts is the converted running back, thus he wears number 6. The linebackers are Ricky Adams and James Ham. Meanwhile, Smith, who injured his wrist late in the first half, and we saw him leave, is shaken up again. And the senior Tony Smith getting the start tonight is assisted off the field.
Another look at Smith getting worked over here. Mark Moore is the man who really puts the hit on at the end. He's known as the hit man.
And Smith comes out of the game with Victor Floyd now in at a running back spot, along with Cletus Jones. Jones, number 42. Incomplete at the 41-yard line. Victor Floyd was hit and did not have possession. Mike Hudson was able to jar the ball loose. Demise Williams involved in the touchdown play in the first half. Melvin Gillum, the other corner. There's Hudson, who was involved on the last play, and Mark Moore, the all Big 8 free safety, who's made a couple of All-America teams as well this year.
Back sprain on Smith as a result of that hit by Moore. And to give you some indication of how busy Moore has been, he had 91 tackles on the year, 7 interceptions. He's one of the best hitters they have ever had in the secondary at Oklahoma State.
2nd and 10. It's a fumble. But Keith Ross, the freshman, falls on his own fumble at the 38. It'll be 3rd and 11. 13-3, Florida State on top. The Oklahoma State points coming here in the second half, and it was Brad Dennis, the freshman from Villa Park, California, who kicked the field goal. He has been their other kicker this year. Joey O'Donnell has done most of the kicking, but it was Dennis who put it through for 3 after that first drive, as Smith comes back into the game for Florida State with 8.5 minutes to go in the third period. 3rd down and 11 from the 38-yard line. The fake to Smith. And Ferguson throws over the middle, complete to Gator, and a first down at the 37-yard line of Oklahoma State. Herb Gator.
Again, Herb Gaynor, the split end number 3, continues to be impressive tonight in a fill-in role. Sells his post move, then breaks back on a short corner route to the outside and gets in ahead of Gillum, number 2, for a big gainer and a first down. 5 receptions, 116 yards.
That one good for 25. It's Jones, Cletus Jones, the fullback, working his way inside the 35. Gaynor catching 5 passes tonight, and that's as many as he caught all season long. Again, if you joined us late, as you look at the numbers for Ferguson reflected there. Hassan Jones, their number 1 receiver, declared ineligible because of selling complimentary tickets. Holloman, their number 2 receiver, hurt. Bryant, their number 3 receiver, hurt. So they've been going with people like Randy White, who hadn't caught a pass all year, and Herb Gaynor. And that one is thrown to the tight end, Keith Panton, for a first down at the 23-yard line. Panton, a senior from Laurel, Florida, takes the ball down to the 22-yard line.
One of the keys here is that Florida State has been able to provide good protection for Ferguson. We said initially that the Cowboys would have to establish a consistent pass rush.
First down at the 23-yard line. Ferguson for the end zone and incomplete, intended for Gator. Gator covered on the play by Demise Williams.
So Ferguson continues to turn this into an aerial circus. 15 completions in 31 attempts now for 263 yards and 1 touchdown. We got a lot of time to go yet, too.
Oklahoma State, 5th in the nation in pass defense, allowing 137.5 yards a game. That should really have an asterisk next to it, though. 2nd down and 10, and the pass is dropped by Smith. It should have an asterisk in the sense that, and it's not to denigrate in any way the Oklahoma State defense, but they play in a conference in which most of the teams run the ball. So as a consequence, even if you have an average to just pretty good secondary, they'll wind up statistically a little bit higher than they would in some other conferences.
Conversely, Florida State, one of the top scoring machines in the country, amassed 76 of their points in one game. That was against Tulsa.
3rd and 10 from the 23. Smith has room. Drops the football. A scramble for it at the 2-yard line, and who has it? He does. They keep possession. He's given everybody a thrill on this drive, and twice he has coughed up the ball at the end of a good run, only to recover his own fumble.
Well executed draw play. Ferguson sells the pass first, slips the ball to Smith on the left side. 2 good cuts there, loses the ball here, and now recovers his own fumble. 20 yards on that pickup, 110 yards and 11 carries for the night.
On 1st down, they give it to Smith again on the pick, seeking room to the outside, and doesn't have it. His story kind of worth repeating in a way. We talked about it in the first half. Smith getting the start tonight after Bobby Bowden had gone with a freshman for most of the second half of the season. Came to Florida State, flunked out of school, got his grades back up by enrolling in a JC, re-entered Florida State. He's had a checkered career. He was suspended for the first game of this season, then was a starter, then went to the bench, then Bowden gives him the start, and he's capping his career tonight in a pretty glorious way. His 4th 100-yard game of the season. The others came early. 2nd and goal from the 3. Fake toss, and the pass incomplete, intended for Galen White, number 87.
Nearly intercepted. And to amplify on what you said about Tony Smith, Victor Floyd and Keith Ross were listed as starters ahead of him. But when I talked to Bobby Bowden, he said, I'm going to start a senior tailback just for experience. He says, I have a freshman quarterback. I have freshmen all over the place. He said, we're young, young, young. He said, I need some experience. So that's how Smith got the starting role. And he's taking advantage of that tonight.
And he's played just about the entire game. And he's outrushed Thomas with 7 fewer carries. 3rd and goal. Jones, touchdown. Everybody was looking for Smith or the pass, and they give it to Cletus Jones, the fullback, and nobody was thinking about him. Figuring you go with your main man, Smith, or you go to the air, and Bowden fools him, and it works.
Want to see a clinic for the fullback trap play? Look at this. Cletus Jones, straight up the middle. Quarterback carries out his fake on the option play, but Cletus Jones has daylight to score the touchdown.
Smith converts for the 46th consecutive time this season. 6:02 to go in the 3rd period. It's 20-3 Seminoles.
These
Cup and Al Troutwig with you in the 3rd period with 6:02 to play. Florida State leads 20-3. That has to be quite dispiriting for Oklahoma State. They trailed 13-0 at the half, mounted a pretty impressive drive, but came up a little short, and it ended with a field goal. And then when Florida State gets the ball, they march all the way down the field and turn it into a 17-point lead. Riley is back deep. Roberts lets it go through the end zone. So a first down coming up at the 20-yard line for Oklahoma State. A week from this Saturday, January the 11th, a live telecast from Kansas City, where the Harlem Globetrotters will be in action. Jim McKay will be there. Al Trautwig will also be there. Al was a ball boy for the Globetrotters at one point during his youth.
Now the wigger never ceases to amaze me. Man is amazing, and he has added a whole new dimension to sideline commentating in 1985.
And animal imagery as well.
Yep.
First down from the 20-yard line. Thomas on the flea flicker. Back to Williams. He goes deep for Riley, and the pass is picked off at the 34-yard line by Sanders. And he's got some blocking. And he's inside the OSU 40 and taken down at the 36. Up short on the throw.
Williams has a strong arm, but for the third time tonight, he underthrows his receiver because momentarily Riley was out there. Sanders recovers, gets the interception, and you can see why they're excited about this freshman, number 2, Deion Sanders, because he does it all.
5:45 to go in the third period. Florida State with a 17-point lead and the football.